I just wanted to look at a rally recently in Madrid, and this was Make Europe Great Again. This was staged under the banner of Vox in Spain, far right party, but it also had featured in terms of speakers. Let me get them all. It had Marine Le Pen. It had Viktor Orban, Prime Minister of Hungary, Geert Wilders from the Netherlands, and it also had Matteo Salvini, the Deputy Prime Minister of Italy. And Salvini is quoted in his speech saying something I had just been saying. Yesterday, we were heretics. Today, we are mainstream. I don't think that's true. So if I paraphrase him, if I rephrase it, I think that would be more accurate. Today we are heretic. Tomorrow we will be mainstream. And even then, when you've got the deputy prime minister, and when you've got the prime minister of Hungary, when you've got the leader of National Rally, when you've got Geert Wilders, hey, maybe my correction ain't accurate, but the point is there that the tide is going to the right, and it's going hard right. What we thought was heretic, what we thought was unthinkable for these people yesterday, is what they are saying today and what they are going to do tomorrow. So at this rally, they were talking about the reconquest of Spain. This is El Cid. This is the expulsion of the Moors, the Muslims in Spain. Remember, you had the domination of southern Spain, I think going into France, but southern Spain was a Moorish civilization. And of course, what happened hand in hand with the expulsion of the Moors was also the expulsion of the Jews in Spain. But if we look at it today, this is also what's on the agenda, the expulsion of Muslims in Europe, not just putting up, borders and keeping people out. It's also about getting rid of people. That is what is on the agenda of the far right. Now, the reports I read in the more intelligent sections of the press on this one do show the problems. And that is, none of them at this rally raised up Trump's demand for Europe to start spending 5% in terms of arms expenditure. Roughly speaking, at the moment, European countries, with this or that exception, spend roughly 2%. So we're talking about something more than double. We're not talking about the budget, we're talking about GDP here. So he wants defense, arms spending to go up from 2% of gross national product to 5%. So they don't want to talk about that because once you start talking about guns, what about the butter? And they want to tell European voters, you can have both. So they don't want to explore that question. They keep quiet about it. They also keep quiet about the possibility, the distinct, surely likelihood of Trump imposing tariffs on EU countries. Maybe the 25% tariffs that we saw imposed on Canada and Mexico, maybe the 10% tariffs that were imposed on China, but they don't want to talk about that either. Now, we've had discussions, and it's worthwhile thinking about, what is the nature of these right-wing parties? My fellow panel speaker for tonight, Mike, argues that these parties should fundamentally be understood as extensions of American power, particularly, the right in America. So National Rally, Wilders Party, the Brotherhood in Italy, the Freedom Party in Austria. Basically, what Trump is establishing is direct relationships with these countries. And these countries are radically subordinated to the United States. He might be right, but I just have this suspicion that there's also the possibility, at least, that such parties precisely will have the ambition not just to make Germany great, but precisely to make Europe great again. Now, I don't think the EU has got a hope in hell of doing that. It's a Ruritanian, higgledy-piggledy constitution that paralyzes it, that makes it incapable of doing anything. It runs on consensus. So it's incapable of doing anything serious. On the other hand, a Franco-German bloc with Marine Le Pen as president, with the leader of AfD as the chancellor in Germany, heading an AfD-dominated coalition, maybe then Europe can be made great again. I wouldn't dismiss that possibility, or the possibility. Again, this is pure speculation, but it's speculation of the sort that we need at the moment, that such a bloc might align itself with Russia in order to counter the United States. I think that we're in that sort of territory, that what we took for granted yesterday, NATO, American domination of Europe through the EU, NATO, and all the rest of it, all of that is being thrown in the air. And therefore, we should expect the sort of realignments that international imperialism went through in the run-up to World War I. So, for example, Britain and France became allies. We shake our shoulders at that now. But these were the old enemies. And we also then had France bringing on board Tsarist Russia, an outrage for Republican opinion in France, even an outrage as far as, democratic opinion would have been concerned in Britain. We also had Britain and Russia reconciled, the rivals, for southern Asia, Persia, which was an area of dispute between the British Empire and Russia. All of that was settled, and the enemy became Germany. Remember our royal family, Queen Victoria. Who did she marry? Albert, who was German. What was their family origins? Hanover. Who did they marry their daughters and sons off to? Either Russia or Germany. Either way, I think we're going through at least the possibility of such realignment. So yes, things move to the right, and things will move to the right, I think, producing all sorts of potential unexpected alignments in terms of international capitalism. Having mentioned tariffs, of course, as I thought, again, don't want to say, well, it's all done and settled, but as I was saying last week, if you look at the 25% tariffs that Trump imposed on Canada, 25% tariffs on Mexico, they soon went. They were suspended for a month. Mexico has moved 10,000 National Guard members up to the border. Canada, I presume, is still in negotiations. Either way, you would expect Trump to exact concessions off Mexico, off Canada. I don't think that that's going to happen with China. Precisely 25% from trading partners that are on your borders. That's not really going to happen. That would be like shooting yourself in the foot. I know that tariffs on Chinese goods will add to inflation in the United States, but my own assessment, for what it's worth, is that it will be the United States that benefits from this trade war. I could be wrong, but I don't take the sort of left talk or the liberal talk that this is all crazy. This is the United States acting in an irrational fashion. I don't take that seriously. I think the United States is acting in a rational fashion, but the presentation, is put over as impetuous. But we need to separate, this is my argument, we need to separate Trump and the drama and the theatre, the performance from the underlying reality of the changing nature of the world order.